What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a whole bunch of Kickstarter news for you. Keep you up to date, keep you on the lowdown on what's on Kickstarter now, what's ending, what's coming up, some far-reaching things, some updates, and then, of course, teases for even more news that's coming up, some deep dives in the future. Let's go and get to it. As always, I'd like to start out with a quick thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. I do not take money from any of the companies that I review so that I can stay completely honest up front with you guys. And so if you appreciate that and you can support, link down in the description. If not, though, that's fine. There is a merch link, an Amazon link. There's a like button, a subscribe button, a comment button. All of that really does help and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. With that, let's dive in. Alright, now I'm going to start out with Veiled Fate. This is a strategic deduction game for 2 to 8 players. It's made about $500,000 now, which is actually, I think, really impressive from IV Studios. I don't know what they did before this, but this is a very interesting game. Now, it's not necessarily one that would get a lot of playtime from me, though I really appreciate the art style and kind of how it plays. It's actually kind of interesting. So you have let me get a good picture of the board here. Actually, and I'll just kind of explain a little bit. But since you have a round board, it's called like plain or hide in plain sight or whatever. And as you go through, you'll do like these different quests, and you can use your actions to move anybody, not just you. And so you're moving you to like try and do well for you, and then you're also moving other people and trying not to do good for them. But you're trying to like hide it all, right? And so nobody knows who's who. Well, I mean, you know who you are, I suppose, but you know who anybody else is. And so you're trying to just kind of deal with that, which seems kind of cool. There's a little kind of secret vote that you do for scorpions versus feathers, and some of those can, hurt a person or, do other kind of stuff. So, looks interesting. Definitely they call it strategic deduction, kind of a social deduction, but also like actually strategic as well. Again, not my cup of tea, but if that's something that interests you, or if the theme really does too, the whole demigod, Greek kind of thing going on there, then by all means, there's a link to this and pretty much everything I'm covering down in the description below. Moving on, we have Endless Winter Paleoamericans. Look, I think I know where they're going with that. I think it's like that whole like Ice Age continent thing, but anyway, so like almost 3,000 people are following this, so there must be something here, right? But I can't really see much here. So let's go ahead and head down to BGG and take a look. And it says it is a Euro-style game that combines worker placement and deck building in an innovative way. Well, they're always going to say it's an innovative way. I don't think I said that right the first time. I will say, though, that I think it looks great. I'm a sucker, for whatever reason, for snowy settings. I really liked the post-apocalyptic winter wonderland of DEI, Beludus Manic Studio. It's a great game, by the way, too. I really like the look of this. I like the look of Frostpunk. I like the look of Myth of Battles Ragnarok, because they've shown like a snow level. I really dig that kind of stuff, so that's cool. But it looks like a very pretty game. It really does. It looks like there's the very nice player trays, and even the miniatures look, very premium here. Like, it just looks nice. The art looks nice. I like that. That's a fancy mosaic, that's for sure. This is, if I was to play a Euro game, I wouldn't mind having this be it. This looks incredibly nice to me. It doesn't look overly busy or overly fussy. So I'm hoping what that means is that there's some very intuitive play that just kind of is very streamlined. Honestly, it's something I will take a look at. No promises, it is Euro, but I'll take a look at it. Next up, we have Ambush Epic. Now, this one is not funding, and I'm going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the game. Essentially, it's kind of a normal kind of combat game, except there's like fighting in between you and other stuff. Honestly, it's kind of a bummer they don't have a gameplay video, and they've even said they don't have a gameplay video, because it stays pretty, it's focused so much, even though it's all the scrolling, just on like the art and really and stuff like that. But if you want to know like how are these cards, used, they do have the rulebook posted, which is great, but the gameplay highlights are very high level, not really enough to really get a sense of the overall structure of the game, if that makes sense, right? Like, it's not even talking about, whether or not you're betraying people. Anyway, it's just weird. There's a rulebook, so you can check out the rulebook. Art looks nice. I like the style of it. One thing I will notice, though, is that, oh gosh, I can't even scroll up. Look at that. It has 6 days to go. It has not funded yet, and there is one update. One update, and that update is from October 12th. So in the comments here, so I'm like, what the heck's going on with this, right? In the comments here, they say, hey, we were told by another publisher not to do a whole bunch of updates and not disturb the backers. I think there's a huge difference between not disturbing backers. For instance, I actually don't like the whole 12 updates on day one. That's kind of annoying. I end up typically not reading them all. It's just too much. I have too busy of days for that. However, not updating at all is kind of ridiculous. It almost seems abandoned, and that's kind of unfortunate to me. The fact that they just aren't talking about the game. They just kind of upload it. Okay, there you go. Good luck. We'll say thanks for backing in the comments. Like they're in the comments though. When was the last comment? The last comment was 13 hours ago at the time of recording this. So yeah, that's, it's dead in the water. It's not going to fund, not without people really, hyping in and going on BackerKit and talking about it on social media and, doing different things like that. And maybe trying to unlock a social stretch goal for funding or, who knows what. It's just unfortunate to see. So hopefully they can kind of get their ducks in order and, start really kind of, championing their board game to us. Next up, we have Knockdown by Awaken Realms Light. I think it's kind of funny that their description is talking about, how they don't focus on miniatures, or they don't have miniatures, and their second Kickstarter has miniatures, but it's fine. At 51,000 for as light of a game as it is, I think that's really cool. It's kind of interesting. This is taking place the same time as Twisted Fables. Twisted Fables is very much the more advanced game here. However, the miniatures here look nice. It's great to see Business Penguin. It's great that they added the Nemesis guys. Look at that. That's awesome. Now they have names like Katie and Puppy and James, right? But honestly, I like the resculpts better than the originals. I think they look quite nice. He's about to trip though, because he's about to just flip over. But either way, I think that's cool. Especially because you can play as the alien, attacking people. That seems kind of nice. That being said, much lighter than what I'm looking to play by the looks of it, from what I can tell. And so probably not a game for me. However, maybe it's a game for you. Link in the description below, of course. And I'm sure they're going to add more and more. There's a... right here. Yeah, so they're going to add plenty more. There's going to be some Tainted Grail there and all sorts of other fun stuff. So that's cool. Space Cats. Gotta have the Space Cats. It's interesting. It shows the Space Cat and they have the Nemesis and doesn't have Space Cat. Maybe they'll unlock characters inside of the different worlds once they introduce the worlds. I don't know. Next up, we have Townsfolk Tussle. That's doing quite well at 250,000 raised at almost 3,500, a little bit over backers. That's quite good for just a few days out. And honestly, considering it's a first created and they're coming from nothing, that's darn impressive. Now, that being said, I think it could have been more, and it's a little unfortunate. So this is why, if you're a creator and you're thinking of an idea, by all means, reach out. I'll talk to you. And talk you out of stuff like this. So, I don't know who they were working with, but whoever they were working with on the campaign failed, and didn't do well. Maybe they weren't working with anybody. But if they were working with somebody and they knew this was happening and they didn't mention anything, that's kind of a bummer on their part for doing that. So what they did is they had this Dearly Departed Townsfolk Pledge, Strictly Leb, and the Prestigious Town Hero Pledge, and the Nimble Local Pledge. All these were limited in backers. 5, 100, and 100. So within a minute, they were all gone. So if you were at work, if you had to go pee, if you sneezed, if you had a lazy eye and had to go fix that somehow, I don't know what you do for that. If something happened and maybe got lost in your internet tabs and you go back to it, it was already gone. So the early backer just rewarded a couple hundred people and that's it, which is short-sighted considering how many people were following it. A little unfortunate, mainly because it was also a price. It's like a $15 price difference, which is actually a little bit on the heavier side when it comes to Kickstarter prices. For whatever reason, often it's 10. So 15 is actually kind of hefty for a lot of people. They consider that to be almost a small expansion. And so having a $15 or almost free shipping, perhaps, depending on the game, That being said, it's an incredibly, incredibly fun game. I really, really enjoy it. I have a review up. I'll link to that down below as well for you if you want to check it out. And of course, to this page. Very interesting game, very cool stuff. They're unlocking new stuff as we speak. And it's doing very well, and the backers are, and everybody are happy with it. So that is good. Next up, Darkest Dungeon. Talk about a success. Darkest Dungeon's at 1.6 million. Almost 13,000 people are backing this, and it still has 14 days to go. That is incredible. It is doing very, very well, surprising no one based off of its kind of, pre-packing hype that it had. I did a details video on this, so if you want to not read all this and just kind of understand the game, I'm going to explain the game in kind of a nice, efficient manner. So again, link to that down below. It's also here on the page that you can take a look at it. But as you can see, they're unlocking a ton of stretch goals. So we're doing all sorts of stuff, different new characters and sculpts and enemies and all sorts of gross and nasty stuff and terrain pieces and new maps, which I really like seeing the new rooms. That's huge. So lots of cool stuff for sure that we're unlocking, and I look forward to doing more. If you didn't know, FYI, by the way, Darkest Dungeon 2 was announced. It's on Epic Game Store. Take that as you will. That's for the video game, by the way. Speaking of video games, let's look at Frostpunk, the board game. Again, 1.8 million, 13,000 backers. I'm just going to keep saying that apparently. 5 days still to go. First created, huge success. Congrats, Glass Cannon Unplugged. This looks wonderful. And so it looks like, honestly, if you are into solo play, you should look at this game. This looks like a very, very, very fun solo game. Again, I'm still hesitant about the multiple players. It's not really how I like to do things. It's not my cup of tea. Which is fine. Not every game has been made for me, and I understand that, and I think it's good at what it does. I'd caution against doing too much into it, when it comes to trying to make multiplayer work. Like, just, you have a good game, let it be a good game, and let it be its own thing, and I'm okay with that too. That being said, you can, again, link down below in the description, you can follow along and see kind of where they're at with all of that. They've unlocked, again, lots of stuff. There's a lot of premium stuff. They're doing these daily unlocks, which is great to see. I like seeing that because there's a constant stream. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. Okay, hold on. And, okay, so here's the unlock. By the way, it's funny that their Glass Cannon Unplugged and their latest stretch goal that they want to get to is a app. But it does say right here, is a 100% unplugged game. However, they want to make a app too, so you can do that alternatively. Good on them. Let me play it unplugged, completely analog, offer an app, and do whatever the heck you want to do with that app. More on that later. Next up, we have Nova Aetas Renaissance. I will be reviewing this in the future. They have to get me a copy, but I will be reviewing that, so I'll let you know. That being said, as a huge fan of tactic games, like Final Fantasy Tactics, Advanced Wars, all that kind of stuff, this looks good. It looks good. So first of all, it's got the 3D terrain. I'm a sucker for it. Second of all, it has a class system where you start as one class, but then you can go to 2 different other, like, advanced classes. Each and every single character is unique and has their own story, their own progression system, all that kind of stuff. You can go and get more and level more up just so you have more options. You're going on stuff and on, like, adventures and, like, talking to people. They have this really cool, they call it a horologia. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these things. I'll show you. The way that they, by the way, don't believe these renders. The miniatures will be decent, to good, to some even great. If they're anything like Backwards Wars, they're not the best ever, but they're okay. They're not bad at all. And that being said, some of these, like, really skinny stuff and all that. These are very much renders, and they do not render based off of Final Mini. But oh yeah, we have some really cool unlocks there. This is great, by the way. I love seeing this. That is in Claustrophobia 1643 right there. And, it's essentially like a clamp shell that is an overlay that instantly double boards it. So you can slot in, like, your squire versus your knight, right? So if you upgrade the class, you just slide it in there. It's a very easy way to, be able to, double, make them double thick. And, it just looks clean. I really like it. Lots of cards and whatnot, and 3D terrain and all sorts of stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at, so this right here, this is your turn order. And depending on the action you do, depends on how far you go. And so you might do something that's really big, but you won't go for a long time versus a whole bunch of little ones, which I think is also very, very cool. I like seeing that. I think that's awesome. They have AI that triggers based off of what you do, which is also really neat. They have crafting and again, like I like every single header in this. It just all sounds really, really nice. They will be posting a rule book, which is awesome. Good for them. And again, this is based off of a previous game they had. And so a lot of this has already been kind of tested, which is kind of nice. It's not like it's some unknown game, which I like. So I'm definitely on it for now. I'll let you know as I get the game, and obviously I'll do a review for you guys and let you know all about it. Twisted Fables, perhaps my favorite game to play right now. Twisted Fables is a card-driven game. Again, I did a review on this. Link in the description below. I'm reviewing all these kind of games. This is a really, really fun one. $75 gets you some very, very pretty minis. They're like larger 40 millimeter. It is a fun deck building combat game. There I am. Look at that. That's me. Apparently I said that in there. I don't run off a script, so who knows what I said, but I remember saying that. It's all right. Very fun game. Beautiful art. Great looking miniatures. Super premium. Components are doing neoprene mats and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be cool. I like it. Next up, Dragonbond, Great Worms of Draka. This has been shown before, even on this channel. Really, they're just adding a 5e book, but you can still get the minis as well. And the minis are super cool. Very, very cool looking dragons. So if you're a dragon fan, there's some freaking sweet dragons. They also have, I mean, look at this guy. They have some busts. They have these D&D kind of, things that you can also print out, like the giant skull thing. Each one's going to have its own kind of realm that you go to, and so there's a lot of terrain and stuff like that. Look at this. You can even have like the fire and ice and stuff like that coming out. Looks very, very neat. Lots of stuff here. I dig it. Oh, those look so good. Look so good. Okay. Anyway, that again is available now. We have Immersive Battle Atlas. This is like not even like a game. There's no miniatures. But I have friends who like D&D, and I think this idea is kind of cool. So essentially you get this book, right? And this book has these battle mats, and the battle mats are, it's got like, you know, the kind of all the D&D stuff you would want, but then you can also like just kind of go through it and use these maps. But also you can use these maps however you wish. You can do custom things. You can do whatever the heck you want. So you can make this kind of winding stuff, or, you know, they have all the measurements for it to work, and you can place stuff on top of it. And each book is kind of themed. So if you know you want the tavern plus the ice place, you can do that. I think they look cool, and I think it's a neat idea. So yeah, that looks awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. So very cool. They have like, you know, like stickers you can put down there and stuff like that. Look resealable. You can dry erase, mark on them, and kind of do your typical D&D like stuff on them. But then you can fold them up and put them up in a nice little book and have it be organized. So very, very cool. I like it. Okay, next up, some upcoming stuff. I recently got an Elgumar's printer. I have been printing all sorts of stuff like this. So, been printing stuff, been working on it. I will do a review soon, an unboxing soon, a first impression soon, all of that kind of stuff. You'll see some videos, but that means I'm also looking at printable stuff. Signum Workshop, if you don't know Signum Games, they are doing a lot of very interesting styled, fairly unique looking miniatures, and they are doing a Kickstarter plus a Patreon. Can't see the Patreon yet, but it's coming up soon. That being said, if you put in your email address, you get her for free. She comes pre-supported. So I went ahead and grabbed it, and you can too. Go ahead and put that there, and you should be good to go. Additionally, they have the preview page for the Kickstarter. And again, there's going to be a 24-hour bonus, so you're going to want to click the Remind Me button, get that working for you. And as you can see, like, some of these miniatures look really cool already. And this is just a taste of what you're going to get on the Patreon, so I'll probably end up doing that as well. Some of them, like, I actually don't care about this one, but a lot of them I think look super cool and unique as well. Like this guy with the scars I actually really like. Different factions, all sorts of cool stuff that they're doing here. Stretch goals and whatnot. I like it. Excited about that as well. And the price is actually like really, really good. Like this is $16. I'm okay with that. All right, Sons of Faeriell. It's October 28th. What is this? This is this. So again, kind of a Euro game where you're a worker placement game where you're like, you have these masks that you can put on your tribe people as you move them around the map and all that. Looks kind of cute. It's got some miniatures. Still not necessarily my thing, but I do really like the art. I think the art looks very, like my kids would love this. They would go all like this would make their day, having these minis and that kind of art. Very, very light colored, which I really think is cool. It makes it stand out a little bit. Now, for something a little bit more my style, at least, Gaijin is going to be from Awaken Realms Light as well. It's going to be a board game. I don't know too much about it, but oh my gosh, look at that art. Whew, it's getting hot in here. That is awesome looking art. I love this whole thing. This looks freaking great. How do I exit out of this? Okay, so that looks sweet. And they just have more and more art, and it just looks so freaking good. I am down with all of this. Like, I don't know what the story is, how you do different things. I'm already doing some kind of like early voting stuff on here. That's not it, but this looks really, really good. So down with that for sure. Looks awesome. I'll be keeping an eye on that, definitely. Next up, Primal the Awakening. I know, I'm covering it. Look at that. They've reached out to me. They've started posting again. It'll be January 2021. They know it's going to be that month. They're not announcing that day yet because that's still not 100%. Like they have a day, but they don't want to say it yet in case they decide to change it. But that being said, January 2021 is when it'll be coming out. Obviously, they are still wrapping up the prototype. Once that's ready, I will be getting it and I'll be talking to you about it and doing an early review. So again, be on the lookout for that. Next up, we have Descent Legends of the Dark. It was, there was a teaser trailer announced, and then they had kind of a Twitch stream where they talked about it. The big news here is that it is quite different from Descent. It uses different dice. Like it has some of the same stuff, but like 3D terrain, and you can interact with it, and it's much more kind of D&D kind of story based, where you're interacting with, you know, bookcases and different stuff like that. Looks visually impressive. It is completely app driven, so it is required to play the app. You cannot play it without the app. It is not one versus many at all. It's fully co-op. So those are kind of the big changes. If you liked it for one versus many, they're abandoning that as a genre, it seems, and going strictly co-op and ensuring that you're using that app. I have a lot to talk about that in a future video, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Because I think there's a lot to talk about the changes here. And really, that's it. That's all I had, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for taking a look at all this cool stuff that's out there. I hope you are looking forward to at least something there or something interested you. Or if nothing else, this was useful to find out that nothing interests you. That's fine too. Let me know in comments below if there's anything I missed or that you'd like me to take a look at, or that if you have any questions, I'll be down there commenting alongside you, and definitely look forward to talking to you. As always, again, thanks so much. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon.